All right, we're going to be talking about the two-phase delivery. So the two-phase delivery is the first phase we call the stride phase, and then the second phase we call the throwing phase. We're going to cover the stride phase here. So the stride phase is about 0.6, 0.7 seconds. This is the majority of your delivery. This is 3/4 of it. And that's the moment your hip starts moving forward to front foot strike. So we're not counting all the leg lift and all the stuff we do. So once the hip leads the front foot, 0.6, 0.7 seconds. And studies show that in coaching, when we actually teach someone biomechanics or try to make changes in their mechanics, studies show the initial parts of the delivery, the stride or the stride phase, is actually where they see in the studies most real changes occurring. So, for example, the throwing phase, a lot shorter phase, we'll talk about that. Not so much changes made from a coaching session in that phase. And what we believe, and that was the studies, and what we believe, the reason we see the studies are showing people make better corrections early in the delivery is because that's the action to reaction principle, meaning the stride is really an action that you are creating after front foot, or what we could call going in the throwing phase. That's the reaction to what you built in the stride, okay? So it's like the slingshot, right? You pull the arm back, you do all the work to get the arm back, and then you let go, and you let it fire, right? Same thing pitching. You do all the work to load and build the power and coil and load the upper body, and then you hit front, boom, let it go. So that's the focus here, and that's a kinetic chain approach, and there's tons and tons of studies that are showing that that's actually what's happening. All right, so the stride phase, we're not getting into details, but that is, like I said, when the hip leads till the leg, through the back leg drive to front leg braking and optimizing hip to shoulder separation. You'll learn about those when you go into all the components of 3X pitching, but the stride phase is where all the bread and butter is in the 3X pitching program. Of course, we coach the end just as well, but the bread and butter, what we mean, meat and potatoes, this is where you're really going to make significant improvements. And what you're going to find is a lot of people lack the abilities to achieve all the elite movements in the stride phase. Okay, so with the stride phase, I want you to understand you're going to find high velocity pitchers stay in it longer. And a study showed the longer you stay in the stride phase, the more time you give the upper body to get into position and load and prepare itself for launch. The better you use the kinetic chain. We do the Y balance test in our evaluation systems. That's a test that tests how far you can reach. That has a high correlation to your ability to use the kinetic chain. So someone who can get into the stride and can cover good distances and take good time is someone who's going to be able to use their whole body and organize their body well to optimize the kinetic chain, optimize velocity, precision, health, allow the arm to go through a good even path of movement so it can stay healthy. So this is key. So we're learning how to build more time. We're learning how to build more forces here so we can then move adequately enough energy up into an upper body that's now has time to get in the right positions. All that is the value of the stride phase. That's incredibly valuable to you. And like I said, you're going to find high velocity pitchers spend more time and more distance here in the stride phase, and that is key. And you'll see too, not only are low velocity guys going to be quick through the stride phase, quick to open, quick to get the foot down, but you're going to see that also makes them quick to release, right? So the more we build and load the stride phase, the same thing we are going to build and load the throwing phase, because once again, this is the action to the throwing phase, which is the reaction. So if the action is to take a lot of time, build a lot of power, the reaction is going to be on pretty much the same thing. Take a lot of time, build a lot of power. Okay, so and the the true brilliance of a two-phase understanding is that high velocity pitchers separate these phases better. So they have more of a separation between their strides to their throws. It's not all bundled up. And so the better you can take your time, build your distances, that's going to help separate these phases like an elite pitcher. You're going to find that little league pitcher, he's at front foot and already open in his stride phase. The big league pitcher is going to be hitting front foot, and he's going to be just coming into the cock position when that little league or that amateur is going to be more open and already in the throwing phase. So think about it. It's not only allowing you to use the kinetic chain, allowing you to create more separation, which what do we know separation to be? Hip to shoulder separation, delaying the trunk. And that's when all those great things happen in the studies. The arm stress goes down, more trunk energy comes up, more velocity at the end. Okay, so this is really building the foundation to how the kinetic chain works effectively. So if you can't do it through an elite, long and explosive stride phase separated from the throwing phase, there's no chance you're going to be able to optimize your abilities. So really, really, really critical understanding of everything. And this is a simple, real simple understanding. You're learning to stride, land, throw, okay? Or stride, land, separate, delay the trunk, and throw. So all these great things can happen. And if we can't start it here, we can't lay the foundation here, we can't put the body in position to take more time to load the kinetic chain and build the momentum and power, it's never going to happen. So this is really the bread and butter. This is the foundation of 3x pitching, the foundation of the kinetic chain. And this is the stride phase. And I want you to truly understand its separation from the throwing phase. And the more you can separate it, the better you will pitch or throw.